travel. So I wrote a poem about travel, called it The Two-Bag Life. This is basically what you have, right? 2 carry-on bags to get on the plane, unless you want to check luggage, which I hate doing, because you never know if you're going to get it when you get to the other side. So I think the line in this one goes, a week of my life in 2 carry-on bags, one stands firm while the other one sags. But it's a long poem. I'm not going to read that one for you today. Then there's this other poem, I guess it's related to travel, called The Gnome. This one's also a long one, but I really like it, so I'm going to read it. I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, now see if you can pick up the alliteration and the onomatopoeia and the different methods of wording things, so that this is one of the things Norm would tell me to do, is include all the different aspects of writing with those different, something pops and squeaks and rattles and using alliteration. So we've got a lot of that in this one. The Gnome. The tulip leaves listen while the dewdrops glisten and the wild wind whirls on by. The left field's sown, the one my neighbors own, and if it's corn this year, I'm gonna cry. Because I like the view when there's nothing to do from the deck on the front of my house. I kick back in my chair and with the wind in my hair, I have a cool conversation with my spouse. When it rains, it pours, so we go on in, of course, and we get back to where we were before. We took a look in the fridge, and then you know what we did? We hurried on down to the store. Now once we got there with our soaking wet hair, we got a cart with a jiggly wheel. And we went down the aisle in a really silly style just to see what we could find for a meal. Now my wife already went down the aisle until it bent and started filling up her arms till they hurt. And when I finally got there, I couldn't help but stare at the blueberry stains on her shirt. Well, I thought we were done, and she said, "Looky here, hun." And then she dumped all the fruit in the cart. She said, "There's a lot to do, and if I were you, I'd button that lip from the start." Well, we went on down to the butcher and found some steaks I could put on the grill. We got some taters and such, but it wasn't very much because we were trying hard to tighten the bill. Now, I didn't mind passing part of the time at the bakery with all the dough. We tossed in some bread and some non-dairy spread, and then she said, "Come on, let's go." When we got back home, we saw a 9-inch gnome just standing by the edge of the drive. He had a friendly face and a warm embrace. I could have sworn that dude was alive. "Who sent this thing and what luck should it bring?" my wife said. "I haven't a clue." He held a Polish flag, and upon the tag said, "I'm from Wrocław. How about you?" We said, "What the heck?" And we put him on the deck, and we brought all the food inside. While the gnome stood still, I started the grill, and I cranked up the heat on high. Well, I threw on the meat, and I got a little weak, so I sat in my rocking chair. Then surely by choice, I heard a loud voice yelling, "What's going on out there?" I said, "Give me some time," as I searched for a line, and I said, "How do you like your steak?" She said, "Medium rare," and I jumped from the chair and proceeded to trip over a rake. Well, I scratched my knee and I looked back to see what the heck it was doing in the way. I stood back up and I grabbed my cup, and the gnome had nothing to say. Well, I grabbed the meat so that we could eat, and I walked up to the door. I said to the gnome, "Welcome to my home. I hope this place ain't a bore." We sat down at the table, and as soon as I was able, I said a little prayer for that guy. I hope he don't mind spending all of his time outside watching days go by. We ate our food, and I thought it was rude, so I made that gnome a little plate. I set it at his feet just for him to eat, and I noticed it was 7:45. So I looked at the trace of the grin on his face, and I said, "You're going to be all right." Then I rubbed my chin, and I went on in and retired for the rest of the night. And the tulip leaves listen while the dewdrops glisten and the wild wind whirls on by. That guy on my deck with the really short neck is one hell of a guy. So if you see a gnome sitting around your home, be good to him if you can. He's a friendly guy, and he'll keep an open eye and watch out for your land.